This is Rating Descending,
where we watch IMDb's Worst 250 so you don't have to.
My name is Abigail Ward.
I'm Michelle St. Clair.
And tonight we watched Guardians. During the Cold War, an organization called Patriot created a superhero squad which includes members of multiple Soviet republics. For years, the heroes had to hide their identities, but in hard times, they must show themselves again. Let's watch.
Yes! Pump up the jams. Last week I got so snappy at you for singing copyrighted music, and then here I come in hard with Pump Up the Jams.
You can sing me happy birthday.
No, it's copyrighted. It's still copyrighted music.
Sing your own happy birthday.
Happy birthday to Abby. Happy birthday to Abby. It's your birthday, Abby, Abby. It's your birthday, Abby, Abby. Ooh, doodly doo 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 doodly doo doo doo. Toss salad and scrambled eggs.
We already have a copyrighted piece of music. Happy birthday, happy birthday.
What?
Our theme song.
Oh, yes, we have the copyright on that one.
Don't recognize it.
Well, you said happy. The lyrics are bad. This is so confusing.
It's too much for you.
Too much for my little brain.
I turned 18 years old, which is crazy. I'm so excited to be an adult. Can't wait to get my first drink. Yeah. I have my whole life ahead of me.
Abby's been underage this whole time. You know, every time we've talked about drinking, oh boy, we've been in trouble.
And I was a child bride. Uh-oh. Claude's going to jail. It's probably not.
What a grim start.
Yeah. No, it's amazing being 18 and having the prime of my life ahead of me.
Listeners, mine and Abby's birthdays are almost exactly 6 months apart. I'm like 6 months and 2 days older than Abby. It's craziness, especially just because it's at the end of and the midpoint of the year, you know? And this means every single year, Abby gets to her birthday and she describes how it is hell turning the age that I turned. The exact amount of time it takes you to come to terms with something 6 months ago.
Somehow you make my pain into your pain. So selfish.
Well, it's because you're causing pain.
It's my birthday. I'm allowed to.
That's not your pain. Your birthday is not your pain.
My birthday is me being allowed to cause you pain.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, you're not allowed to do that on birthdays. That makes you a birthday zilla.
I can get away with whatever I want on my birthday. No, come mid-June, hell.
I don't subscribe to your birthday ideology.
Well, I'm a Gemini, for all you listening at home, which means I'm fickle and deceptive.
As you've
proud
proven.
to be one.
And I think I've already made this joke on the podcast. I'm Sagittarius, which means I'm Misk.
Yeah, you're a traveler, and that's your one personality trait.
Yeah, I'm a traveler.
You love to travel.
As the person, I think that both of us know that probably spends the most time inside, that definitely feels accurate.
You travel in your brain.
That's true.
To various worlds on your PS5.
It's not good in here, so I spend a lot of time trying to get out of it.
Escapism.
Yeah.
Good for the soul.
Good for that soul. Yeah, I travel all the time to mystical worlds like fucking Middle Earth and Indiana in Stranger Things, you know? Why I couldn't think of two magical places.
Just one.
It's a pretty strange place. It's not a strange place. Strange things happen.
Yeah. Indiana's so middle of the road. It's a good choice. It's like one of those states in the US that bamboozles me, like Ohio and Iowa.
For us as Australians, though, it's foreign and magical. Ooh, the crisp suburban air, a land rife with conflict, you know? That's the travelogue that we'd read, you know?
For Indiana?
For Indiana, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you know, look, I don't want to admit this, all right, publicly, but I will.
But I am forcing you.
Yes, you are. You're literally twisting my arm behind my back. I've gotten it's my birthday, so I'm allowed to talk about this. This is Abigail's birthday treat. Sure. That's what this opener is.
Well, I mean, I had a concussion a few days ago. I hit my head, so I still got that riding for me.
Whoa. Well, let me finish what I was going to say. Fuck your head. A year ago, I got really into the Civil War, and now this year I've gotten really into the Civil War again. It's like scratching some weird itch deep within me, and I have to know, like, everything. It's become pedantic.
You have the itch that you need to scratch is that your journey has always been to become a slightly problematic middle-aged man.
No!
You're into golf. You like the Civil War. Like,
Yeah, but...
soon you're going to be talking about how like no one can date your daughter. Come on.
True. Yeah, I'll never let my daughter go. She's Abby's little girl forever.
Abby's little girl.
It's true. I have the interests of a middle-aged man to the point where Claude, who works with a lot of middle-aged men at his law firm, will say something like, he'll tell his like workmates that I'm getting into, like that I'm really interested in the Civil War, and they're like, that's a deep one to get into. Most people start with World War II, mate, but she's jumped straight to Civil War. All right, well, now that I've had my little Civil War corner, and by the way, if you're ever thinking of getting me anything for my birthday in the future, there are $18,000 Civil War logs that are online. And what I mean by Civil War log is not a book of notes that is called a log. I mean a bit of tree that was hit by shrapnel that has bits of bullets and metal stuck in it. 18 grand minimum.
I hope we never reach success so that you can't indulge this. This is crazy behavior.
Claude, we can't make our mortgage payments to this month. They spent it all on those 5 Civil War logs in the corner.
These logs are tearing us apart.
I had to get the Chattanooga one. It was a bargain.
Well, you have 5? You can't make mortgage and you have 5 logs?
5
Sell
Civil
one of
War
them. You'll
logs.
still have 4
They'll
logs.
appreciate over time.
Oh my God. These are not a good investment.
You know, when Claude and I were playing golf, I hate saying that.
Oh, by
we
the way,
did.
I hit my head, so I'm evil now. That'll be the running theme of the episode. Is
Okay.
now, I'm evil now because I hit my head.
That makes sense. Now you're in that, trifecta, like the little pyramid of what makes a serial killer.
Yeah,
Brain
exactly.
damage. Next, you're going to start pissing the bed. And
Uh-huh.
then you're going to go through some kind of horrible abuse, unfortunately. That's the third part.
Well, I've already got 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Just start pissing the bed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When I was playing golf with Claude, we're at the driving range and we're really still scoping out how to be there, I guess. And I was watching him take a shot and I was not standing in the right place. I was standing kind of in front of him to his northwest,
Sure.
If he's looking north, I'm to his northwest. I shouldn't be there. I should be far away.
Yeah.
And he took a swing just to show me something that he was trying to do. And he
hit you?
Well, the club came so close to hitting me straight in the temple. I felt it whoosh the little hairs on my head. And like Claude threw his club down. He was like, oh my God. He was like, what if I just killed you at this golf club? Yeah. And it was a few days before my birthday. His mum was there. It would have been hilarious.
It would have been pretty fun. Since I'm evil, would have loved it.
Yeah.
I wish it did happen.
You would have done it on purpose.
I would have done. I'm about to. I've got my golf club right here.
Go at me.
Time for evil. I'm workshopping it. I'm still coming off it's new to me, this being evil thing.
What scares me, because I know deep down that like if we did get into a physical altercation with the intent to kill, you'd be able to kill me.
Yeah, we've talked about this before.
Yeah, I
even.
know. I fully understand and know it because you've got like a deep rage within you that you could probably access. You're also quite physically strong when you need to be. You've got a good center of gravity. You're persistent.
I'm very hard to push over.
And I'm extremely easy to push over.
Yeah.
I'll give up within 2 minutes.
You give up quickly.
I'm weak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're stubborn until pressed is how I would describe
Yeah.
it.
And like in any kind of altercation, I tend to burst into tears. So yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Whereas I'm well acquainted with crying and doing.
Yeah. She's a multitasker.
Oh,
Yeah.
me as I'm weeping, beating the shit out of you. I can just do.
Speaking of weeping, this week we watched Guardians,
Yeah, we did.
didn't we, Michelle? Didn't we?
Yeah, we watched it.
We watched it.
We watched it.
did.
We watched the seminal Russian superhero movie Guardians.
That came deep within me.
Yeah, that sounded like it had
I
to
didn't even push
really-
it out. It just kind of
Oh my God, it just sort of came out.
did. Yeah.
Sounded wet.
So we watched Guardians, didn't
Yeah,
we?
we did.
Yeah, it's a Russian superhero film.
Yeah.
And as I was saying to Michelle just before we started recording, I hated the fact that sometimes when we watch these films, it's harder when you're watching a film with English subtitles because you really have to pay full attention.
Yeah.
I didn't want to give this my full attention.
Or rather, personally, I wouldn't describe watching a movie that is subtitled, like a regular movie, compared to watching an English-speaking regular movie as fundamentally more difficult personally. Like, I don't find, like, when I watch Parasite, to pick a very popular example.
But that's because you want to watch that movie.
Right, exactly. What makes it difficult is that we want to look away from the screen and we cannot. There is no reprieve.
We have admitted to, when we watch a movie, sometimes we might be doing something on the side, like doing the research while we're doing it, you know? Sometimes I watch the movie and while I'm watching it, I'm doing a bit of research into it. I'm looking it up on IMDb. Can't really do that with this film.
I had to watch this movie 3 times.
Tell me why.
Literally, this comes out on Wednesday. We're recording this on Monday evening, right? We're like right up against the wire for us.
And we are living life on the edge and it feels good. The adrenaline rush of it all.
But my system for these kinds of movies, I know the exact amount of cognitive function it takes to watch these movies, to be able to fully interpret it and then talk about it with the hee-hees and the ha-has.
Oh, the hee-hees and the ha-has.
The hee-hees and the ha-has.
The hoo-hoos and the hee-hees.
The little chuckle, laugh.
The little giggity gigs.
A little guffaw, if you will.
Sound like Quagmire from Family Guy.
Giggity.
Stop. Move on.
Why can't I just say this?
Because it reminds me of Quagmire from Family Guy.
No, I'm saying I'm struggling to get it. Giggity.
She's having a stroke. It's the concussion. It's her turning evil on mic.
Giggity.
She'll never giggity again.
All right. I know the exact amount of cognitive load it takes to watch this movie, talk about it for an hour with some light chuckles. I mean, I hope there's light chuckles.
At this stage, who's to say?
And then essentially completely forget about it. But that requires watching it quite close to our record time, right? So both times I was trying to watch it literally in the 2-hour slot before we recorded.
I'm so sorry.
So that it could be in my head, because I knew, like, once a sleep passes, it's gone.
But do you, like, watch the whole thing again? Or do you just, like, kind of skim through it to remind yourself?
I start from the beginning.
Michelle, your dedication is actually too much sometimes.
Thanks.
I mean this.
But now that I'm evil.
You shouldn't do that to yourself.
Now that I'm evil, prepared for it to get a lot less.
There's been plenty of times in the past where, because of scheduling things, I've happened to, you know, like, watch something maybe a week prior to actually recording it. Like, it's been a bit of a gap. But I would never subject myself to a full watch through again. I might skim to remind myself, look at my notes again. I would never rewatch. I value my time too much. And I'm not saying you don't value yours, but I'm saying that your dedication sometimes is harmful.
Technically, I only watched the last 20 minutes once, because both of those times we cancelled whilst I was in the last 20 minutes.
Fucking hell. My apologies.
Hey,
I had a mega period last week. Should have talked about that in my opening.
Yeah.
Fuck my 18th birthday. I had such a mega period that when we were due to record, I was lying in bed and I was like, I feel like my vagina's about to explode. Like, I tried to skip my period for it's so cool. I skipped my period for 5 months and now I'm back onto my period because it wasn't really agreeing with me, and I feel like I had a huge build up.
It's a sextuple period.
It was just a mega period.
It was
the Meg.
It was the Meg.
It was the Meg. And it made a super highway out of my vagina. And I was just in agony, and I was lying in bed and I was like, there is no way I can sit myself up for a recording session today. And also I was very moody. I was very grumpy this period, and I had to make sure I didn't like take anything out on like anybody. Like, I was like, the other day I was feeling really irritable out of nowhere, and I was like, I feel like having a fight with someone. I am in a really bad mood, and I just had to like go sit by myself for a while and be like, just calm the fuck down.
Yeah, and I mean, you already outlet quite a lot of your anger at me in this podcast.
No, which is so ironic because, again, between the two of us, you would beat the shit out of me. You would, and I would cry.
But it's okay, because instead of recording, I hit my head.
Yeah.
So it's
great trade-off.
It's your fault.
No. Imagine if you died from that blow. I was like, man, if you just had, you know, made the effort to get up and record that day, she'd still be here.
She hit her head and tragically died because she was ambling about, not an idea what to do since her recording session was cancelled.
I can't believe I caused your near concussion. Or your concussion.
I did get concussed, yeah.
Yes. Anyway, what were we talking about with this stupid film? You've had to watch it too many times.
I've had to watch it 3 times.
Well,
let me tell you though, because I've had to do that with several of the movies on this list, you know, as well. Not to mention the times that I've watched the backlog, such as watching all 6 Police Academy movies. Oh,
again,
boy.
No one asked you to do that.
The people.
We the people
are begging me to not do this, and yet I hate them, and so I will do it anyway.
This is all of your own. You are fucking digging your own grave. What? At a certain point, I cannot extend sympathy to you because you chose it.
What is this whole podcast if not us digging our own fucking graves, all right? That's
But
all
you
it is.
to a further extent, like I am so keen to honestly not let this podcast affect me as much as it can. Like if there's a limit to how much I have to consume and do, I will just hit the quota and I will not go beyond. You got beyond.
Thanks. You're welcome.
I just think it explains a lot of the mental health issues that you suffer.
But I do it for you, listeners, and then for you, Abby. I do it for you.
No, you don't.
I
You
do it
do
for
it.
you. You
The
know
truth
I
is,
do.
Michelle, you never did it for them. You do it for you. It's all about you.
You didn't have to sit through Abigail 3, so don't you talk to me about dedication.
Well, how about you just marry Brooke and then you can go on a honeymoon and you don't have to watch like a couple of movies in the future.
I'll rot in hell before my honeymoon stops me from watching Abigail 5, all right?
Again, this unhealthy determination. It just makes no sense.
It's not about logic. It's about stamina.
I will say if there's one attribute I can absolutely always, if someone said like describe what like Michelle in 3 words, one of them will always be like persistent.
Thank you.
You do not give up, and it's not always a good thing.
That is, unironically, why I'm alive.
Ah,
I am persistent and stubborn.
yes. So what do you think of this film?
Look,
Do you want some key details?
Yeah, let's just get into the key details.
Let's just do it. All right. This film was made in 2017. It had a score of 3.9 when we locked the list back in 2020.
Yeah.
It was directed by Russian-Armenian filmmaker Sarik Andreasen.
That's cool that he's Armenian as well.
Yeah. He went on to do a couple of other big blockbusters in Russia. Like, I think he's quite well known within Russia.
That's cool.
And look, apparently I tried to find information on the budget and someone claimed it was only $5 million, but I couldn't verify that. Apparently they're very cagey about releasing the budget details because of what a flop it was.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Here's my overview.
Oh, wait, there weren't any returning actors on this?
Crazy. There was only one that had a Wikipedia link. None of them had Wikipedia profiles. They're all on IMDb, obviously, but they were all only on Russian projects that we have not heard of.
Is there can any listeners confirm, is there like a Russian equivalent? You know how there's like, was it Yandex or something is like Russian Google? So instead of having at Gmail, you'd have at Yandex or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Maybe they have like a Russian Wikipedia, Russopedia.
Maybe.
Not everything has to just be named Russia, but you know.
Yeah, maybe. I think like I was really excited because I was like, ooh, first Russian film on the list. And in the vein of like Row One, I was like, maybe I'll learn a lot about like the Russian film industry, Russian actors, Russian filmmakers. No.
Wikipedia.
Don't think they had the budget for that.
Wikipedia.
Shut up. Here's the overview. A team of superheroes are living in secrecy after being disbanded by Patriot, the organization that created them. When robots turn on their creators, they suspect it to be Kuratov, a cyborg ex-professor who attempted to make clones of himself.
Yeah.
It's really hard to... At a certain point, I gave up, and you'll see exactly when. The superheroes are tracked down by Major Lorena, who, by the way, is the most like conventionally beautiful woman I have ever seen.
Yeah.
The cheekbones on that bitch.
If you were to auto-generate a beautiful Russian woman, that's what she would
her.
look like.
Their first task is to raid Kuratov's laboratory within an old factory, but they are captured. Kuratov offers the Guardians a chance to, and then now they go by the Guardians, apparently. They are offered the chance to join him, but they refuse. He launches an invasion on Moscow. I'm really covering a lot of details here. Set on making his clones. This is the best way I could describe it without going into rigorous detail. Major Elena, or her name was Lorena, I'll call her Lorena. Major Lorena frees the other team members from Kuratov's laboratory. The Guardians go to Moscow and basically fight in numerous silly ways for the rest of the movie.
Basically, yeah.
Basically, I can't go into the particulars here. The Guardians touch each other and generate a blast of energy that destroys Kuratov's tower and the skyscrapers supporting it.
On the one hand, I didn't understand that at all, but on the other hand, it's fundamentally the same as the ending of Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's exactly what we'll get into that.
Okay.
Causing Kuratov to fall to his death, the Major informs him that there is more Guardians, and it ends on that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
With a little post-credit scene.
Which I didn't understand at all.
I think she's talking to another Guardian.
Oh.
I think that's the implication.
I thought she was busting out of a van.
I have no idea.
I couldn't tell. Everyone in this movie's fucking blonde.
I know I'm blonde myself.
Well, every woman in this movie is blonde. Every man had brown hair.
I know I'm blonde, but I do have a particular aversion to blonde people. I get it. Because when I see like a blonde couple, I'm like, what the fuck? And I know me and Claude are both blonde, but he's like, at least a dirty blonde. He's not like a vivid blonde.
Whoa, what a fucking... I can't believe you'd call him that, a dirty blonde. I love it. I'm evil.
Yes.
Is this good? Is this comedy?
Yeah, it's fantastic. No, when I was in Rutherglen for my birthday weekend, because it's my birthday.
Oh, wow.
It was my birthday.
You're
but it's
turning,
still
what is it,
basically
38?
No, like 18 years old, actually.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
just on the cusp of womanhood.
Yeah, so like 33.
No, like 18.
Because you look 33.
No, I wouldn't say that. No one's ever said that before. So.
I'd say just like being 33, you're past your prime.
Well, that's just an opinion. That's just an opinion. Everyone's got their own opinion, and that's definitely not what other people think.
I just did a poll, and everyone said they agree.
Claude says he loves me because I look no older than 12.
What?
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I like that. I'm evil.
You're evil. We have so much more in common now.
Finally.
We're at this winery, and it was owned by 3 blonde siblings, and they were the blondest people I've ever met. Like their eyebrows were like just white streaks on their face, and they did look a bit evil. They were perfectly nice to talk to, but I was like, you guys are evil.
You don't know anything about them.
No, they're definitely evil.
You don't know that.
No, they're actually really lovely. I was like, wow, you're in a winery and you're so down to earth. Like, they're actually lovely.
You're evil.
I'm evil.
If you got hit in the head, you'd become good.
Hope that never happens. I'm stronger when I'm evil.
And then that's when like Brooke is behind you with like a brick, and I'm like, yeah. Now.
Strike. Oh.
This is not good. This is bad radio.
Bad radio, huh?
Yeah.
That's our signature.
Hey.
So that's the overview.
Yeah.
And can I just say, this is something I didn't put in the overview, but let's just establish this now. There are 4 guardians.
Oh, who they are? Great, because that's the first thing I wanted to do too.
And let's start with the first one, like the biggest, most memorable member of them.
Most memorable.
Arceus.
Arceus, yeah.
Who can change into a huge, incredibly strong bear man.
At first, it's mostly just his head and a bit of his shoulders for most of it.
But then
he does towards the end, in my favorite moment, turn into a full bear, but he keeps his backpack with a minigun.
Which is great. And to be fair, the bear with a minigun is a fantastic idea.
Genuinely, I was like, this fucks. This is a great little like comic.
100%.
You know, especially when he's like getting dragged by the wire along the plane.
Yeah. Well, he's just at the end. Yeah, he's really cute. Bears are adorable.
Should have had more bear.
And before he is full bear, when he transforms, he looked a bit like Chewie in some scenes.
Yeah, I get you.
There's a bit of a Chewbacca energy
when he
with him.
turns back, because I thought he was turning fully bear forever. When he turns back, I was like, cowards. Fucking cowards.
Khan has super speed and wields a pair of curved swords.
Yes. It's like, there's many kind of speedsters throughout comic book and superhero-dom and stuff, but few of them focus on what if the guy who was super fast primarily had really big curved knives.
Yeah. And Lev.
But isn't he going by like Lev through most? Oh no, Lev. Yeah.
I think it's Le because it's the shortening of his name. Has the ability to. It's Eliar. Le. Has the ability to control earth and stone.
Yeah.
And apparently.
Oh, you go.
Oh, sorry. Le is the Armenian word for mountain.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That is cool. And you know what? I think a geomancer. I was like.
Cool.
There's not that many. That's not like trite and overdone.
Yeah.
That was kind of genuinely pretty cool.
It is trite and overdone.
Yeah.
Xenia can become invisible underwater, and Xenia's superpower probably prompts the most questions about the world that they live in, the lore of her abilities, and also why the loopholes in it. It's just there's so many questions that we'll get into with her. But that's the 4 guys.
Her main power is being hot.
Yeah.
And also you're forgetting that Le, they really try and pump up that they're all getting an upgrade, and really it's mostly that she gets a suit that can make her invisible all the time. But
she already could do that.
But only when wet.
Yeah. I thought she had clothes in the initial scene that were able to make her invisible.
She does.
Okay, all right.
They just did it wrong. It's okay. It's
okay.
okay. But Le, it gets the main thing from the upgrades in that he gets like a laser whip, but with rocks in it. So
Very Legend of Hercules.
I guess it's like rocks that are connected by laser electricity, and then that's how he can
An
control it.
electromagnetic force?
Yeah, that's how he can do it because that's how it's connected. And so he has that. And then I guess he also has the ability to make electromagnetic blasts, even though he's primarily a geomancer. I don't understand the connection between rocks and electromagnetism.
And then also the villain Kuratov has a special ability around
being a giant muscle baby.
Being a huge muscle baby, giving a terrible performance. And also he has a thing about electricity, like control machines. Yeah, that's his thing. He can make like electrical shit.
It seems to both be him and his exoskeleton, but he can like control electricity and subsequently machinery. And he, for some reason, again, looks like if you took a baby and then injected it with enough steroids that it was the size of like a 7-foot man.
Yeah. And for the villain, he gave absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He was not intimidating whatsoever. He seemed quite approachable most of the time.
They also didn't get a guy who was really big and jacked. They got someone who I think was maybe a bit tall and then put him in a suit that is mostly like rubber and paint. So he looks really he looks AI generated.
And the man cannot emote.
No,
so you never know at any point how he's feeling, but he's definitely not that angry.
Most
of the time he's a bit perplexed. Yeah. Like, oh.
He's mostly a little confused. Yeah. Sometimes he gives a little Dennis the Menace sort of grin.
Yes, definitely. I would call he's in a state of befuddlement. Consistently.
Perma-befuddled.
Perma-befuddled.
Is his power. This is Kuratov. He is perma-befuddled and a big baby.
And a muscle baby.
The most muscular baby in the world.
Yeah. And I did feel like the guy that played Arceus was also so conventionally attractive as well. Yeah. He was almost like a Russian, like Chris Hemsworth. Hemsworth. Yeah, I was going to call him Hemingway.
Yeah, he kind of looks like he could have been like maybe the lead singer, but probably a guitarist of like an okay alt-rock band, and then he became a singer after. No, a skateboarder turned actor.
True, yeah.
That's what it is.
True, but he's too hunky and beefy to be on a skateboard. He'd snap it.
I don't know. I feel like some of them were because I don't think he's like bulky enough to be like wrestler. I think he looks to me like he got that beefy.
True.
For acting, you know.
True. And I mean, look, I'm not a Marvel person. I'm not a superhero person at all. I know you have watched a lot of them.
As I said, I watched all of them up to Endgame because a girl I liked invited me to it, and then we didn't go on another date, and I resent it.
You resent it?
I don't resent it. I didn't like those movies.
Yeah.
And I didn't have enough of a good time to be like,
but
this
Brooke
is what
likes Marvel things.
She likes some of them.
Which you get into for her.
Yeah, I mean, she likes some of them. She likes Spider-Man primarily. And so I watched the Spider-Man.
Well, this is clearly like, you know, someone was like, well, Marvel films are doing excellently. Let's make a version of that. Because there is so much overlap with Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the bear is obviously similar to like the Hulk, in my opinion, in that like he just like turns into a big beast. There's always some look, I don't know enough about it, but there is like
there's like the Thing in Fantastic Four.
With like and like that's similar to like the Earth.
Yeah.
The Earth guy.
It kind of feels like they took the Thing and then they split him into two different guys.
Also, I know that Kuratov doesn't look like Thanos, but I was kind of, at certain points, I was like, there's a bit of Thanos in there.
There is a bit of
Thanos going on.
They make a lot of villains bald.
They do. They do. And actually, they talked about this. Have you listened to the podcast No Such Thing as a Fish?
I don't listen to other podcasts.
Oh, no. And I shouldn't be flogging some other
don't really
podcast.
like podcasts.
Let's censor it.
Yeah.
Do you listen to beep, 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 beep?
No, we should just play it on this and then charge ad revenue because I'm evil.
Well, you know the show QI?
Yes. Oh, yeah, it's their podcast.
They have the researchers on the back. Yeah, they call them like the QI elves. They have their own podcast, and it's great. They come each week with a fact that they found out that they find us interesting. They discuss it, and they were talking about the fact that Lex Luthor started the trend of bald villains.
Oh.
And it was because someone animated him incorrectly. They had a team of junior animators, and they thought that the wrong guy, someone pointed out what Lex Luthor looks like, and they thought they were pointing to one of the henchmen that was bald. So all of a sudden, Lex Luthor appeared in a copy of Superman bald, and they just had to run with it.
Oh.
And later they went back to explain that Superman was responsible for some chemical blast that destroyed his hair.
Which, by the way, because they do a similar thing in Smallville as well, as I learned when seeing some friends in Sydney who were watching it at the time. That is the funny... You don't have to explain why a guy is bald.
Yeah.
Some guys are just bald. The idea that they're like, he's
There's
bald...
There's got to be a story.
Because of Superman. There's a reason for it.
Maybe he just shaved his head one day. We don't need to know.
Maybe he likes the look. Maybe he's got alopecia and he's sensitive about it.
But apparently, like, it started a trend of creating bald villains. Wow. And apparently there was, like, some movement of bald men saying, like, less bald villains. Like, we're sick of being... I stereotyped as evil.
I kind of get them.
Yeah.
I'm kind of on their side. I'm like, you know what? That's kind of weird. Because you know what we also do? We do that with a lot of like physical disabilities. We go like, oh, they've got like a really fucked up little arm, or they don't have one. They're a baddie. They're gross. Ooh, they're ugly.
Yeah.
And they have things wrong with their body, and so they're evil.
Yeah.
That's not great.
And that's
kids
also,
internalize that.
They were also talking about the fact that a lot of villains tend to have a facial disfigurement.
Yeah.
It's not just like acne, pockmarks. It's like a scar or a cut or something that makes them disfigured and ugly. Therefore, they become evil. And that was also part of it, was saying like, stop harboring these stereotypes.
Some of the most evil people I've ever met are so handsome. Like me. I'm a vampire now.
But that scene at the end where they all they pool their forces to create an energy blast is so Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I'm not a Marvel fan, and I'm going to have a bad take here, okay? So just bear with me. Abby's bad take.
It's time.
Watching this is how I feel watching any Marvel film. It's the same experience for me.
Okay.
It's the same experience. And I know I completely understand the differences between it and like why it's on the list and Marvel films aren't. But it's the same feeling and experience on my end, especially, as you said, how similar that last bit is to the Guardians of the Galaxy. I will never forget the feeling of betrayal and anger I experienced when so many of our friends circa 2015 were like, you've got to watch Guardians of the Galaxy. If you're not into Marvel, this will get you into Marvel. So we watched it and we were so disappointed by it. And in that final scene, they literally hold hands and say, we are the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
And they beat it through friendship. And it's exactly what happened in this shitty film.
I will
and why
say-
did Guardians of the Galaxy get away with it?
I will say the first 2/3 of Guardians of the Galaxy, I did have a good time. But I couldn't move past the fact that they're like, oh my God, how are we going to do it? I know.
Friendship.
We'll hold hands and through the power of friendship, we'll do it. And
Yeah.
then what I hate then is that every fucking Marvel nerd will go like, well, actually, what it would see, he can do it because he is actually half eternal or half whatever, you know. So in the lore, I'm like, they wrote it. You stop pointing at the things they wrote to make it make sense, because that's still what happened in the moment is the power of friendship.
Yeah.
It doesn't count.
And I just feel like I feel like what this film doesn't have in comparison to Guardians of the Galaxy was a budget and good actors, like professional, like A-list actors that could carry some of the hammier bits of dialogue. Because Claude and I were watching last night Ocean's 11 for my birthday. When we got home, we were like, let's watch a movie.
That's a good time.
It's a good time.
That's a great
He's never
movie.
seen it. And I was like, fuck yeah.
Wow.
I know. So it was really fun to watch it with
What a good
him.
little fun time to have together.
Yeah, we ate some cheese, watched Ocean's 11, and we were talking about how hammy the dialogue is, but how much it works because of the actors that deliver it. Who else could be as suave as George Clooney and Brad Pitt? And
It's
any
totally
other actor?
consistent.
It is. It's tonally consistent, but also at no point do you ever feel like it's an actor trying to be suave. It is the quality of the performance and the fact that they are naturally such suave men.
I also feel like it's like the quips in that are like character filled and them engaging with each other. A lot of the quips, especially in more recent Marvel things, which I do think have had a decline, a lot of them are about undercutting the emotion of the moment, as if you're like embarrassed by it or cringing at the idea of having like an impactful moment.
And that's not what Ocean's 11
really bothers
does.
me.
Because
It's not
Ocean's
what
11
Ocean's
is just
11
being like, run and hide, asshole. Run and hide. You know, it's them threatening each other. It's pulling the plot along. It's Rusty and Danny Ocean having an argument and they're like pulling quips out at each other. It's silly, but it works. This didn't have the actors or the budget to make the hammier bits work. And then all you're faced with is all of the bullshit that is in Marvel as well. And you're like, well, it's actually, they're doing a lot of the similar beats and like plot moments and character moments. It's just that they can't pull it off. And it kind of makes you realize how ridiculous the Marvel films are.
Yeah.
But I know that's not a popular opinion.
That was Abby's opinion. Vote now. Text 555.
Text 1-800-ABBY no
Abby no.
to disagree.
To agree. Text 1-800-ABBY yes to vote no.
Makes sense.
Makes
Or you
sense.
can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com. If you hate what I just said, you can email us at ratingdescending@gmail.com and just say, you bitch.
Yeah.
You slut.
If you disagree, I would say go to our Twitter, go to our TikTok, engage as hard as you can with how much you disagree.
Yes.
This is how they do it. We just have a bad take on purpose.
So I could really drive up listenership just by
have a
saying
bad take on purpose.
horrible.
And then say something that's like close to right, but a little wrong, and then don't address it.
Okay, all right.
Oh my God, people love engaging with it.
Okay.
And people now, creators love doing it on purpose so that people engage with it.
Yeah.
We got to be more savvy.
Yeah.
You know, we
Yeah.
got to be more savvy.
All right,
we're
let's
dying
get
here.
some really great
Advertisers
discourse.
are pulling out. You keep singing copyrighted songs.
Wasn't me this time.
I'm evil now. You
You're
know, they
evil
don't want to
now.
get involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do it. We can do it.
So that's how I felt about this film.
Yeah, okay. Well, I think I actually genuinely enjoyed it more, if not just because when I first put it on, you know, that fucking soft rock, butt rock intro was
It's called Soft Cock, actually.
Sorry, that soft cock intro was pretty. That real flaccid, flappy dick of an intro. I was having a good time. I thought it was fun and
was so
enjoyable.
fun. Great start. Great start.
I think I wrote down this soft rock intro is giving me life, and then my next note is the rest of this intro is killing me stone dead. Which I think is pretty accurate for the whole rest of the movie. Also, this is such a small little thing, but at one point they're talking about where we can find the Guardians, and I don't know, maybe it was just a translation thing of like the English subtitle guy like not knowing about it, but they're like the village of Riga is where he was last seen.
Riga?
Yeah, Riga. That's the capital of Latvia. Sure, it's not as big as Moscow, but that's not a village. That's a city.
Yeah.
Russia, your imperialism is showing. The village of Riga, they're like, oh, it barely even counts as a country. No, come on. People live there.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's fair. I'm glad you picked up on that. Justice for Riga.
Justice for Riga.
If you agree, SMS 1-800-RIGA. No! to my personal mobile number. 04.
No. 5555555. Or email us at latvianow@gmail.com.
Justice for Latvia.
Justice for Latvia at yandex.com.
Justice for Latvia 1. It was already taken.
You know how it is. We could have put dots in there, but you know, it's just easier to do it this way.
Yes, 100%. It actually chose it for us.
100%.
Oh, Hundo.
Mad Hundo.
When I listen to this podcast, the amount that I say 100% is enormous. I honestly think I say it like twice an episode. I'm like, 100%.
Yeah. What do I do?
Just spout nonsense occasionally.
When you listen back,
I'm like,
just like
what is she saying?
Turning off until you hear your own voice.
She's back.
Wow.
This chick's hilarious.
I start to do the math, and like your feedback for every episode is based entirely on what the percentage is of who's speaking.
Could have more Abby in it, to be honest.
I don't know if that bit was
Michelle,
funny.
Yeah.
That was the bit where I was talking loud.
I don't have any notes for you because when you talk, I just zone out. Yeah.
One thing I do want to talk about is the bit towards the end where they make it into the middle of the tower. We barely talked about Khan, by the way, but he barely does anything, so I guess it's fine. But he does kill the fuck out of people. It's more violent than I thought it was going to be. But they get into the middle of the tower and they got to stop it. And it's like a generic action movie. Like it's a big pillar of electricity and stuff, and like it's science things. What do we do? What do we do? It's maybe like 4 or 5 lines. It's like, oh, what do we do? Oh, well, we could short circuit it. Get metal. That won't work. It'll melt it. Oh, that's right. And then what's her name? Her secondary superpower is that she can't feel temperature, or she can't conduct temperature.
Yeah.
So she clearly gets the idea of like, oh, if I'm there, then it won't melt the metal because I can't melt, because I can't feel heat.
But it will still be excruciating for me.
Yeah, well, I thought the implication was that she'd die because it would be with like hundreds of volts of electricity coursing through her entire body to try and short circuit it. And no hesitation. It's like the first plan they've thought of, and she's just like, all right, and then goes up to it and does it. I'm like, why didn't you think of any other plans?
And I have to say, because I listened to it in the Hindi dub and not the Russian dub accidentally. The girl, whoever dubbed Xenia for the Hindi dub, her scream was hilarious. It's kind of like,
Yeah, in Russian it was like, Yeah, more squirmy,
Yeah.
squirmy. Yeah, but then she's actually just fine.
Yeah,
So
she's chill.
Kind of didn't matter.
It didn't matter at all.
Didn't matter.
Yeah, the great thing about this film, no stakes ever. At any point, they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they do win by crouching by a river.
And then going...
And then you literally have no idea what's going, because then like Khan like falls over and Arsus is trying to hold him up in what looks like an improv exercise, and then they just shoot a blast at a bunch of buildings that all get exploded.
Stack. And then also, my favorite thing about the film was all of the deep and meaningfuls that the major Lorena had with all of the Guardians, where they would open up about their backstory, and then this music would swell.
Yeah.
They would talk in like idioms, and she would phrase quotes and then walk away.
There's a lot of shots of one of them talking about things and then cutting to her, and she's like giving a little little smile. You know?
Yeah, she's so stoic.
What I want to know is this like a comic book or something? Because she reads like she's important in the comic, and then they didn't know how to put her in the adaptation.
From my research, it wasn't based on a comic, but I'll just double check, because you saying that is making me worried that it was, and I missed it.
I doubt that it actually is, but that's how she comes off as a character.
Pretty sure it was just created because they wanted to replicate a Marvel film.
The movie thinks she's the main character and then makes her do nothing.
She does nothing.
And then it's kind of Lur, but because he's the leader.
Yeah.
But he also doesn't really none of them really do anything.
No, it's not based on anything.
It's kind of mostly about Arsus when you think about it, and Xenia.
It's about what?
Arsus and Xenia.
Yeah.
They're kind of the Will Turner and Elizabeth Swann of this Pirates of the Caribbean.
It was. They're little, yeah.
But
romance.
there is no Captain Jack Sparrow in this. That's
the problem.
That's my pull quote.
Yeah, no one had a sense. There was no real comic relief in this film, was there?
No.
Usually there's someone to add a bit of comic relief, but this had none.
No.
None at all. Let me tell you about some trivia.
Yeah.
IMDb trivia.
There wasn't much trivia.
It's hard when we get foreign movies.
It is. And they're very cagey about this film because it was a flop.
Unless they're Hindi, then it's been really easy.
Then you've got like 180 sweet little items to pillage through on IMDb.
Yeah.
The movie has some parallels with various Marvel characters,
Yeah,
as
that
we've
tracks.
discussed. As we said, Patriot, like Arsus is similar to the Hulk. Khan is similar to Quicksilver. Lair is similar to the Thing.
Sorta.
Xenia is kind of close to, like, has a power set close to the Invisible Woman, and Patriot is similar to S.H.I.E.L.D.
I don't think her power set is. I mean, like, I know she can go invisible, but it's more vibes that she's, because like this is the kind of thing where like they're
It's
all
just vibes.
Yeah, they've got some
breath.
vibes that are similar, but there's like hundreds of superheroes. You know, at a certain point, there's going to be some that are similar.
Yeah.
And I do think that like none of them that have a similar vibe are in the same team as any of the others in Marvel. So like, I think it's fine. I think it was surprisingly original. It could have been fucking like carbon copies of the Avengers.
Yeah.
You know?
The production budget and revenues generated by this film have not been precisely reported. However, Russian box office receipts dropped precipitously after the opening weekend. Foreign promotion was limited, and production company Enjoy Movies, set up by the director, declared bankruptcy a few months after the film's release. Based on these facts, along with insider reports, Russian media and analysts have concluded that the film was a major box office bomb.
That tracks.
Also, I was short on trivia, but I found a couple of goofs, and they're not necessarily funny, but they bring up some good points.
We won't bring in the weirdly written goofs, but we will read them.
We will read them.
Yeah.
At the beginning of the film, Patriot staffers say that they have been unable to keep track of the superheroes, yet Xenia is found to have been using her powers in presumably well-advertised public performances with thousands of spectators.
That's a pretty good point.
They track her down at a performance of her going invisible in water.
Yeah, she's at the fucking like
Where
Russian
is
Cirque
she?
du Soleil. We can't
And she's
find
the
her.
last one found out of all of them.
They only find her because Arsus apparently has been like following her the whole time.
Yeah, that's the thing. Apparently, she's the most difficult to find.
They don't even find her. Arsus already did.
Yeah. Patriot staff provides Xenia with a super clothing that is specifically designed to become invisible along with her. However, at other times in the film, ordinary clothing becomes invisible along with her body. She seemingly should not need special invisibility clothing.
Yeah, I mean,
She shouldn't.
she really should. Like, literally one of the first things we see is her going in the rain and then go invisible.
Yeah.
You know, when they go to confront Kuratov and then they all just fucking lose, which I understand is a structural milestone point, but the way it's presented in the story is really funny because it's just getting them like, let's do it, let's go, and then instantly lose. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Huh.
I guess they suck.
And also, The mechanism or superpower behind the floating gold flakes that dress Xenia after she emerges from the pool in her opening scene is never explained. And it's true. It never is. She emerges from this pool doing a public display.
Yeah.
And that's also not explained, why people are just chill with it. And she emerges from the pool and she just is covered slowly with this gold flaky material that becomes a dress.
Yeah.
Not explained.
No, and the people have just seen real magic.
Not explained.
And they're like, wow, that's cool. I'm going to go home and not talk about this
Yeah.
at all. That was
Back
crazy.
to my normal life.
So the CG was terrible.
Do you want to hear some reviews?
Yeah.
Reviews!
The reception of Guardians was overwhelmingly negative. Crazy.
Yeah, that's what
It has an approval rating of 33% on Rotten Tomatoes. Higher than I thought, to be fair. And I've got some IMDb reviews from you, but they're a scattering of ratings because I couldn't really find too many 10 out of 10s and none of them were very enjoyable. Here's one called Not Good Enough. It's a 3 out of 10 review left by Rajnot5. Oh no. Bad Russian. You just killed my point of view on Russian movies. I thought Russian girls are hot. But the characters in this movie are pretty average. Well, I would suggest to totally skip it. 3 out of 10. Bad Russian.
Oh no. Bad Russian. I thought Russian women were hot.
This is a 4 out of 10 review
Wow.
called Defeatables by Compuga.
That's not a fucking joke. They're not called the Undefeatables.
No.
God, that's not a fuck. Oh, whatever.
Take it up with Compuga, man.
Compuga, you and me, we're going to fight.
Yeah. Oh, it's been a long time since we've challenged someone to a fight on this podcast.
We're going to fight and you're going to win, baby. But
You know, Tom Green never responded to my public challenge.
oh my God.
I know.
Oh my God.
Defeatables. The ugly, dumb-looking arch bad guy kicks the so-called Guardians' butts along with everyone and everything else throughout this overblown plot. The only backstory to speak of adds interspersed dullness to the display of so-called superpowers, which availed for nothing much. They finally had to combine their energy into a painful, for them and for the audience, combo pulse blast, which caught the bad guy off guard and didn't even confirm his demise. The moral? Friendship. He's right.
Yeah, you know what? I came in hard for his lack of joke for a title, but that was pretty solid as a
right.
review, yeah.
And here's a 1 out of 10 review left by Dahawit called, I'd never complained to any movie before. This is the scariest movie ever.
What?
1-star rating for the CGI. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's the time to know that this movie is bad in script, and the worst part is the acting. All people in the movie is fake. So they've no emotion in acting at all. The worst of the worst is the ladies walking movement. I hate their asses a lot. Sorry to say this, I really can't stand for the first 20 minutes. 1 out of 10. I hate their asses a lot.
Hate their asses.
The ladies walking movement. What the fuck?
Oh my God.
Well, that was that fucking Deranged Lunatics review. What's yours, Michelle?
Look, I don't want to be as harsh on the CG because the CG was bad, but also like when it's a non-American movie, I just feel so sympathetic to budgets, you know. So I'm like, come on, I've seen American movies that look like that, like they're doing fine.
Yeah.
But it's hard in Russia. I mean, Russia's making it harder for
it's
other.
hard in Russia.
Yeah, but it's hard to, I guess, be many Russians, you know. So I'm not gonna knock down marks for that. I'm gonna knock down marks because it sucks.
Yeah.
It doesn't have a point of view of any kind.
No.
It doesn't. It doesn't even feel like aggressively nationalistic in the way that a lot of like American superheroes movie where it goes like, yeah, we did it, justice in America.
Russia. Yeah.
Like this doesn't make me understand anything about like the fucking Russian psyche better, you know?
Because they're mimicking Americans.
Yeah, it does feel very American in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. And like, hey, maybe that's a cross-cultural, like modern capitalist Russia is a lot like modern oligarchic America, you know? But I don't think that's what it is. I think it's just that it's kind of sucks. It doesn't have a point of view. The cinematography and the filmmaking is bad. There's like not a single good shot. But I do think there's like the team is original. Whatever. I think it's a 3.5. I don't think it's as bad as you did, but that's still a low score for a movie.
And look, I'm not even going to give it that low a rating because it had, you know, it had ambition. It's a whole movie. It's a whole movie. It looks like a movie, sounds like a movie. They really tried with this. And for such a minimal budget, kind of impressive in terms of like the actual like CGI kind of maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, again, like if it was made for $5 million, cool. That's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty ambitious to do a whole bear with a minigun.
100%.
The bear
with the minigun.
The bear looked better than
That's
Arceus did on some of the walking on the tower thing looked a little wonky, but the bear looked great.
Look, the CGI rendering wasn't great actually in some bits. There's a scene where it's like meant to be raining and there's clearly like no rain on the ground and no rain on the walls behind them.
Yeah.
It's just... Anyway, the ambition and the attempt was there. And for this podcast, that's quite good, you know? And I'll actually give it like a 3.2 out of 10.
It had a bear in it.
Had a bear with a little gun.
With a gun.
How good.
That's fun.
That's
Again,
fun.
That's a cool comic in and of itself.
Yeah.
Make that. Make bear with gun.
We beseech you.
Please.
Please.
We beg of
bear
you.
with gun.
Russia. Make bear with gun.
Make bear with gun.
Make bear with gun, please. For us.
Well, guys, did you know? We're on social media.
What?
I know. If you liked this podcast, you can follow us on social media. We're on Twitter at RateDescendPod. We're on TikTok at RatingDescending, or you can email us even at ratingdescending@gmail.com. And now you can text us, Abigail No, at 04662.
No, 5. That's where you're ending is me going 5. Well, you know, if you want to text us more directly, don't do that. You could instead follow us on our own social media. You could find me on Twitter and Instagram at michelle.stclair.
And you can find me on Instagram under Abigail J. Ward.
Or, you know, if you've done all that already, you're over it, you're looking for an extra way to show your support and enthusiasm.
You love us.
Tell your friends, but then once you're done with that, do the very quick and easy task of leaving a review.
It really makes a difference.
It really makes a difference. Difference made. 5 out of 5. There's a bear in it.
With a gun.
There's a bear with a gun.
Well, Michelle, that was Guardians. What are we watching next week?
Next week, we're back, baby, because we're watching the 2008 Prom Night.
Oh!
You know, the horror
another
movie.
horror
Another
film.
one. 2008?
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, that alleviates me a bit.
It's
Prom Night sounds
it's
fun.
2008, but it's a remake. It's a slasher.
No, but Prom Night sounds fun.
Prom Night. I mean,
get behind it.
I never had prom because I'm
didn't
in the
go.
wrong continent.
Yeah.
We did have the debutante's ball.
We did have 2 formals in year 10 and year 12, but I refused to go to both of them.
Wow, that's cool.
I didn't want to.
I went because I got asked by genuinely one of the cooler, and not just like cool, but this is not good for the ending.
This is bad radio.
This is bad radio.
Well, on that note, see ya. You don't get to hear the end of that story.
No, maybe
Go
next
home.
week. I just mean right now the music's coming up. That's crazy.
Bye.
What a time
We're running out of time.
Why start a story?
See ya.